Hello everyone, I'm Loganathan from Loga QA Automation channel. Welcome back to our next video in the Python for Testers series. In the last video we have covered the Lambda function and higher order function in Python. Lambda function is nothing but one line function which will not have any name. That's why it is called as anonymous function too. And also we can call that as throwaway function because it is kind of a use and throw function. The limitation is this will have just a single line, right? It will not have multiple lines. It is just a single line function, and it is best for simple maths calculation and sorting and the simple things that we do with functions. Okay, and then coming to higher order function, it is nothing but a function which will use another function as an argument. Okay, that is what we have seen, what is higher order function in the last video. And in today's video, we will see the important higher order functions which are available in Python. So we have plenty, but we are going to see only these three, which is nothing but filter and then map and then reduce. So filter is the higher order function which will be used on collections to apply some filter on the collection and take the values. For example, say you have a list and this list has say 10 numbers and you want only the numbers which are greater than 50 from this list, then you can go for filter. And then map. So map is used for transforming the collection, right? When I say transform, take an example that you have a mark of your 10th standard, say 5 subjects are there and then 5 marks are given in a list, and now you need to say in every subject whether you are pass or fail in another collection. So in that time, depending on the mark, if you want to say whether you are passed or failed, then you can use the map. Another simple example is, say in one list you have units in say a kilometer, and then you want to convert that list into say meter, then you can use this map and convert that list. So that is for map. And then finally reduce, from the name itself you can understand, if we give a list with multiple values, or if I give a collection with multiple values, the reduce is going to finally shrink it down and bring it to a single value. So that is what is reduce, and you will see a practical example when to use reduce, when to use map, when to use filter in this video. That said, let me jump straight to the PyCharm. And I have already created this filter map reduce package, okay, Python package. In this Python package, I'm going to create my first test file, Python file. So let me name it as test01. I'll create a collection, or I'll create a list. A is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50, right? So now I said I want to, out of this list, I want to take the numbers only that are greater than 20. So how can I do? First I need a function for this, right? So let me create a function, def, I'll name it as f, and I take x as a parameter, and I'll say return x is greater than 20. Let me first print this so that you'll understand what I'm saying. So print f of 20, print f of 40. Okay, so first time when I call the function f with the parameter 20, it should print false because 20 greater than 20 is false. Next time I'm calling the function with 40, it should print true because 40 greater than 20 is true. So let us execute this. Yeah, you're seeing that this is false and this is true. All right. Let's see how can we use this function inside our filter higher order function. Okay, let's create a new variable b, and then I say filter, and then this filter is a higher order function. What does it mean? It takes function as an argument. So here what is the function I'm sending? F, comma, the next is the iterable. So I'll keep my cursor over here just for your understanding. The function filter takes iterable as the next argument, right? So iterable is nothing but any collection type. So let me use A here. Now you see, I'll print this B. Now the B becomes filter object at, so it is telling what type of object is this B. I want to convert this B into list. How can I convert? It is very simple, list of B. And then I'll print this B. Control X. I'll run this. Can you see it? So first A is this, and then after I apply filter, the B is 30, 40, 50, because I have a condition saying that any number which is greater than 20 only should be getting into the next list B. Let us try to understand what is happening here, okay, with filter. Okay, so when I say filter, filter will have a definition, right? Filter will have a definition. So what will have, and filter will have arguments. So this will have an argument function and then a list, correct? So when I pass this function, so function of x returns 20 will get stored here. So this will go here, correct? And then the A is nothing but this list, it goes here, the list. And then every time, so this filter will iterate through this list, so it will pass one by one, right? So it takes one value out of this list and pass it to the function. So f of 10, it will get in here, and then this will return true or false. It will return false because it is not greater than 20, so it will return false. If it is false, then it will skip, it will not store anything in B. If it is true, so next time it will send f of 20, right? Then also it is false, then it will send f of 30. So the moment it sends f of 30, it becomes, this condition becomes true, then the 30 will be stored in B, right? A's value will get stored in B, and then f of 40, it is true. So only when it is true, it goes and sits in B. And finally f of 50, it goes and sits in B. It is true. So from here what you can understand is, filter takes two functions, and the first function should always return a Boolean value, and then the next argument should be a collection, and every element of the collection will be passed as a parameter to the function. So this function should also take only one argument. Say if I add one more argument here, f x comma y, the moment I add another argument here, you see that it is an error, right? So that's why in filter, the first argument, the function that you are sending, should take one element as an argument and it should return the Boolean value. Only such functions can be sent here. And then here you can pass the list, and if you pass the list, it will go through the list and pick every element and send that element as an argument to this function, and if it returns true, then that element will be stored in the B iterable object, okay, filter object. Otherwise it will be ignored. So that is what is happening here, and you are getting it. So I have written a separate function for this, and you know that if my function has only one return statement, then I can go with lambda functions. Let's see how we can achieve the same with a lambda function. So C is equal to filter, and then I'm going to type lambda. So you now know the syntax. Lambda, we need to give a argument, so I'll give the argument as x, and then it should have the return. So what do I have it in return? X is greater than 20. Same I can replace here, and then comma A. Instead of keeping this function separately defined somewhere else with a name, what I am doing is I am putting that function as lambda function, and I am passing it to filter higher order function. Now let us print C. I'll name it as C. Okay, so things are looking good. Only thing is this filter will give back the filter object. We'll have to convert that to list. So let me convert that into list here. Okay, now let us run it. You see, C is now the list, and 30, 40, 50. I am not using this functions at all, so I can completely comment this and I'll run this. You see that this is the A list, and then in one line we are filtering out the values which are smaller than 20, and then we are keeping only the values which are greater than 20 in the new list. So that is where we use filter. An important thing that you notice is the lambda function usage, because in the last video when we covered lambda function, we didn't know where to use this lambda function, but now you understand where to use the lambda function, right? So lambda function, when can we use? For a simple math programs where we have one line of a statement which is a written statement, then there we can use lambda function. So this is the place where you can easily use lambda function. All right, so test 1 where we saw the filter is done. Maybe I can write one more filter to make you understand. So last time we saw only greater than 20. Now I'll create another list. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And from here I want to pick only the say odd numbers. What can I do? B is equal to list of, I'll use the same filter, and then lambda. X is the parameter, so first value will get in. What do I need to check? If X is an odd number or not. How can I check whether it is an odd number? X modulus 2 is not equal to 0, then it is an odd number. So I'll stop it here, and then I'll print B. Let's run this. So now B gives only odd numbers 1, 3, 5. If I want to take only the even numbers from this, how can I take it? Simple. Instead of not equal to 0, if I put equal to 0, it will print only 2 and 4. See it? That's all. So filter is used for filtering out a collection based on a condition, and the condition should be inside the function. So that is why filter is called as higher order function. The reason why it is called higher order function, filter function takes another function as an argument. That is why this is called higher order function. Perfect. Let's close this and we'll move to map now. Test 02. What are we going to see? Map. All right, so next when I say map, let me take an example as sides of a square. Okay, sides of a square. I'll say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now our responsibility is to identify or create another list which will hold the area of the square. Right now it is empty, but at the end how I want is, it has to be 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, 5 square, which is nothing but 1, 4, 9, 16 and 25. That is what I want in this. I want to store in this area square list. How can I do it? So first let me create a function for this. Def square. It takes x as an argument and returns return x square, right? So x star x. All right, now let's see the area of square. What is it? Is equal to, I'm going to use map, and then this square as an argument. So, and then I'm going to sides of the square. And again, this has to be converted into list. So I'll put it as a list. I'll print area of square. Let's run this. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Let me print the sides of the square. Print sides of the square. So the sides of the square is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the area of the square is 1, 4, 9, 16 and 25. How did I achieve this? By using the map. Map is nothing but it takes the values from a collection and then it converts that value into another value depending on the function that you are sending. And here I am doing the square, that's why it is all squaring and putting in. But if you want to do any other conversion, that you can do. Okay, I'll give you another example for it, but before that let's understand what map does. Map also takes two arguments. First one is a function and then the second one is iterable. And the first function it takes will return a value. It will not return boolean in our case, right? It is returning a value that is getting stored. And it can also be boolean. I'm not saying it cannot be boolean, but most of the times we would not go for booleans. Instead, we will go for the value. And the next one is collection. So this time we have used list, and every element of the list will be passed as an argument to this function, and whatever the function returns, that will get stored in, or that will be returned from map, and that will get stored in this area of square, the variable that we are defining. Okay, let me again draw it quickly. So what it does, map will have a definition, right? Function comma list, and here is the one, and from here the function will be called. When the function is getting called, what will happen? It will take the list and go through one by one. So what is here? So it will go first 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5. And then whatever it is returning, say f of 1, what it will return? It will return 1. F of 2, what it will return? 4. The return values of this function will be sent to area of square. Okay, 1, 4, 9, right? This will become 9, this will become 16, this will become 25. So the return value of this function will get stored in, or will be returned from map, and that will later then converted into list and stored in the variable. Okay, so now we have seen how to use this function. Next step is simplifying it by using a lambda function. So how can we do it? List filter, instead of passing, I'm saying filter map, instead of passing square, I'm going to put a lambda function here. Lambda x is the variable, and then x cross x, comma side of the square. So let me print this now, and I'll comment all these. Okay, so let me run this now. Cool, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is the sides of the square, and then area of the square is 1, 4, 9, 16, 5. So this lambda function is nothing but equivalent function of this square function. In what I've done, I've just put them in one line. So lambda takes an argument x, and then it passes and then returns x star x. So that's why it is a single line function. It doesn't have any name to it, but it can be used in our map or filter where we are need to pass the function as an argument, and then side square remains the same list. Okay, this is one example. Let's take another example. Say I have USD list. Okay, the USD list is say 10 or say 25, 70, 80, and then 110. and this USD list to be converted into INR. How can I convert? Let's assume that conversion rate, I'll keep it as CR is say 91. Nothing but 1 USD is 91 INR. That is the conversion rate, right? Let me use this now for my conversion. So INR is equal to list of map of, what can I do? Lambda. So for every element in this list, X is equal to X star. I can use the conversion, right? CR. I'll use CR, comma, I'll pass USD. That's all. Now let's print INR. And let's run this. So let me print the USD also. Print USD, USD. Right. Okay, let me run this. Now you see that USD 25, 70, 80, 110 and INR values equivalent to USD, considering 91 as the conversion rate, then it is 2,275 rupees, 6,370 rupees, 7,208 rupees, and I guess 10,010 rupees. Okay, so this is where we can use map, where we are converting one collection into another collection by using some mathematical operations. This is for max. If you want to use strings, then yeah, go for it. So let me say lowercase is equal to, let me put apple, banana, orange. Say this is the first string. Now you want to convert to another one called uppercase. Then go for this uppercase, use your map. First convert this into list, then map, lambda takes one argument x, then x dot uppercase. Comma case. Now let's print this lowercase, print uppercase. So you see that lowercase, everything is printed in small letters, and then uppercase, everything is printing in capital letter. Okay, you can use any function. You can use upper, you can use lower, and then you remember the other functions where it will change the only first letter of the string into uppercase, it will leave the rest. So you can use any function, and accordingly the conversion will happen. Okay, that is about mapping. Now you might have noticed, right? So in filter, generally what will happen is the number of elements in the input list and the number of elements in the output list will vary, correct? So it will have, say if it has 5 elements, the output may have 4, 3, depending on your filter condition. It can have all 5 also if all 5 are matching your filter condition, but most of the times you are expecting it to go 1 or 2, or you are expecting it to reduce based on the filter values, the filter condition that you have written. But when it comes to map, it is always the length of the collections are same. Here it is 3 elements, and here also it is 3 elements. Right? So that is the difference between map and filter that you need to notice when you are learning this. And finally, let's go to reduce. Test 03. For doing the reduce, what we need to do is from functional tools, import reduce. I'll tell you why we are doing this. The other two, filter and map, right? Those two higher order functions are inbuilt functions of Python. Reduce was also inbuilt function of Python once, maybe a couple of years ago, but then they said, okay, I don't want to have reduce in my inbuilt function, instead I'll move to function tools. The reason is the usage of reduce is very less, people are not using it that much. That is the reason why it is taken away from inbuilt function to function tools. So in case we want to use reduce, then it is our responsibility to import it from function tools. So that is what I've done. You remember, right, how we can import functions written in another package or another file into our current file. So the same format from the place where it is present, from function tools is where it is present, this reduce is present, so we are calling it, we are putting it, and then we say import, and then after putting import I can directly put star to import all the functions inside the function tools, but I don't want to do it because I know what function I'm going to use. That's why I'm saying reduce here. All right, let's go with a list. A is equal to, say, 10, 20, 30, 40 and then 50. This is the list. What I want to do is I want to add all these elements, and then I want to have a value. So I want to have a sum of list. Okay, for now let's keep it as 0. How can I get the sum of this list? So first I need to add these two values, right? And then I'll add the result of it to the next value. So what I'm saying, say I have 10, 20, 30 and 40. If I want to add everything together, what I'll do, first I'll add this 10 and 20, which is 30, and then I'll add the 30 here, correct? So this becomes 60, and then I bring this 40 down, so totally it becomes 100, correct? So this is how my addition goes. That being said, first I'll write a function for adding these two values. So def fun, or I'll name it as function to add f underscore a x comma y, and then I'm going to say return x plus y. Okay, so what is it going to do? If I pass two values, it will add them together and it will return one value. Nice. Now I'm going to use b is equal to reduce. I'm going to use this function, so f underscore a comma, I'll pass a. Let's print b and run this. So it prints 150, correct? Let me take up this 50 so that you'll understand. So it prints 100. How did it do? So reduce is also a higher order function, and then it takes the function, and you see that the function takes two argument and then it returns one argument, and the next argument for reduce is iterable. Iterable is nothing but a collection, and this one also returns a value, right? That's why you see an arrow mark, and then it returns. Reduce also returns a value. So what is exactly happening is, in reduce, this function gets called. Let me go with my diagram so that it will become a little easier. So reduce takes two arguments, f comma list. Okay, and then this f is nothing but add. So f of, I am passing two variables, right? What are the two variables? L of 0 comma L of 1. So how it is taking two variables? That is taken care by reduce. Inside reduce, the code is written for that. So reduce will take the list and then take the first two elements and passes it to the function, and the function gets called, and it returns, as I said, what is L of 0? 10, and L of 20 is 20. Sorry, L of 1 is 20. So 10 and 20 will get added and it will get returned to this reduce. So the value is 30. And then from there on, this 30 will be sent as a first argument, and then the second argument will be the L of 2. So 30 plus L of 2 is 30. Then this becomes 60. It returns 60. Now the 60 will become the first argument, comma, the last one is 40. So this will return 100. See? And then that 100 is when the control reaches the last element of the list, it stops calling the function and it returns whatever value it so far achieved, and it gets printed here. That's how you get 100. That is the usage of reduce. I'm just thinking where exactly we can use reduce. Okay, let's see. If I want to find which one is the biggest number here, the simplest way is print max of A, correct? If I just say print max of A, it is going to tell me 40 is the biggest. But if I don't want to use max, okay, if there is a question in an interview, don't use max and find the biggest value here, how can you do? Let's do it. So let's write a function first, def function of finding big. I'll name it as f big. If I pass x comma y, okay, if x is greater than y, then return x. Else return y. Okay, what will this function do? Whenever the x is bigger, x will be returned. If y is bigger, y will be returned. That is the work of this function, right? So let me go here. Now I want to find the big element. So big underscore element is equal to, I'm going to use this reduce function, higher order function, and I'll be passing this f underscore big, then comma my list, which is nothing but A. Let me print big element is big element. Let me run this. And this is finding the big element. Here I have not used the max, right? I have not used the max. Instead, I have created my own function to find my biggest element. So this is clear. And what I'm going to do now is, even in reduce, I'll be using lambda function. How can I use the lambda function? Let's go one by one. So let me first take this off and I'll comment this for now. So instead of calling this f underscore a, what I'm going to do, b is equal to reduce, then I will go with lambda f underscore a. What are the two arguments? X comma y colon. What is the return? X plus y, correct? X plus y is the return. I'll put, and then I'll put comma a, and then I'll print b, and I comment this completely. I can put sum of list here, I can use this sum of list here. All good? Let's run this. So sum of list is 100. You see, this function is replaced by the lambda function, and you know how I replaced it. Lambda takes first arguments. It can be any number of arguments, x comma y comma z, anything I put, but for reduce, the function should take always two arguments and it should return one value. So that is the function that reduce can take. It should take two arguments and return one argument, sorry, one value. Keep in mind for reduce, and then comma a. So this I've already explained how it works, and now instead of calling a function f underscore a, I used a lambda function, and I'm getting the same results. And even here, think and tell me whether I can use lambda function or not. I'll comment this, I'll uncomment this. Okay, so I want to use lambda function. What I'm saying is big underscore element is equal to reduce. Instead of f underscore big, I should write a lambda function. Will it be possible? It takes two arguments or two parameters. So lambda and then x comma y I can go. But here there are two return statements. If there are two return statements, can I use a lambda function? If there are more than one statement, can I use lambda function? Technically no, but if I am smart and if I can reduce these number of statements to 1, then I can use lambda function. So how can I reduce these number of statements to one element? By using ternary operator. What is ternary operator? It is very simple. First is true value, right? So x, it returns if x is greater than y, else it should return y. So first what I do, I'll run this code. So this time also it is able to identify the biggest element because I converted that if else statement, 4 lines of code, into single line code, and then that single line code is getting returned. Return x if x is greater than y, else return y. This is the ternary operation that I am doing on line number 17. If this can be simplified in this way, then it is easy for me to replace it, because lambda x comma y, then whatever is after return I should copy and put here, correct? Then I can delete this, then I will put a comma, and then I pass my big element. So I can cut this, I put here, sorry, I should pass a, the list. So let's see how it goes. Cool. So 40 is printing. Let me introduce one big number here, 50, just to test our program. Let me run this. Yeah, 50 is bigger. You understand how I converted the big if else statement into first the ternary operator, and after converting that into ternary operator, I was returning it. So it was just one statement that was getting returned. After converting it into one statement function, I was able to use lambda to resemble the same function. So once that is done, I can easily use it in my reduce. Alright. Okay, so this, what it does, it takes multiple elements as input and finally it returns one output. Other two, they take collection as input and collection as output. They give collection as output. Filter and map. Filter will reduce the number of elements in the collection, expected to reduce, but if the condition satisfies all the elements, then it will give everything. And map will always give the number of elements as same as the input, right? The output will have the number of elements as same as the input collection. And reduce will reduce the content to one value. So that is the reduce. And here we have seen how to use functions or how to use lambda functions, right? Okay, all right. So I have covered the 3 important higher order functions that we will use in Python on collections. So go through them, practice them. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing. Bye from me.